But our next speaker will be discussing a very important topic that is affected by security and digitalization, and that's about cash-in-transit trends. And he's CEO of CHS Investment Group, an expert in the field of security and transportation of valuable goods, and a renewed industry leader. I see that, are you prepared to give a warm welcome to Vilius Makauskas? Yes. Great. I was yesterday when me and my 4-year-old son, we were watching how the ATM machine has been charged, and they put in the money, and we were both standing and watching. It was very, very funny. And my 4-year-old child, he was like, "Oh my God, there's some people really coming and putting money in the cashing machine." So this is the guy who can tell more about these things and the trends. Welcome on the stage.
So hello everyone. I'm Vilius Makauskas. I'm a CEO of CHS Investment Group, a company that manages Eurocash One companies in the Baltic states. So Eurocash One companies provide security and cash-in-transit services. So today I'm going to be talking about cash-in-transit trends. Or actually, I will be talking about a future of a thing that we all know very well, that we all held in our hands. I will be talking about future of cash. So be prepared to see a lot of numbers, and let's start. So I wanted to start the presentation by showing how simplified scheme of a cash cycle, how overall the cash cycle works and who's the main stakeholders in the whole process. So there are 4 main stakeholders in the cash cycle process. So there is a general public, businesses, banks, and cash-in-transit companies. The process works as that the general public withdraws the money, uses the money to buy services or goods from businesses, then businesses order CAT services, cash collectors comes to the businesses, collects the money, brings the money to the cash handling centers, recalculates the money, and the recalculated amount of the money is credited to the business bank account. The physical money that was brought from the businesses is used in the next stage of a cash cycle. They are delivered to businesses for a change that they need for their customers, or they are filled up, or the ATMs are filled up with this money. So we're always hearing about, at least I'm always hearing about, the trend that everyone is started to pay by cards. And actually that's right. The trend of paying by cards is growing. But usually what's left out is that the cash in circulation is growing as well. And actually that's a statistic from European Central Bank. And the thing is that for the last 10 years, actually for even more, I didn't put the more historic data, the cash in circulation was growing. And in December of 2022, actually we had almost 1.6 trillion of euros in circulation. So going further. So mainly I will talk today about 2 main stakeholders in the cash cycle, the businesses and the general public. Those 2 main stakeholders shape the trend and will shape the trend of future of cash and cash in transit. So actually in 2021, European Central Bank launched first-of-a-kind survey. The survey goal was to ask companies what's their strategic view on cash, how they will they accept cash in the future. So companies were asked the question, what's their preferred payment method overall? So actually 24% of the companies answered that they would like to be paid in cash. 20% of the companies answered that they would like to pay by contactless card, then 17% by debit cards, and 16% by credit cards. And only 2% indicated that they would like to get paid by mobile payments and other means of payment. So here it's not a mistake. The cards is actually separated into different lines, because for us as a general public, when we are paying for services in businesses, we don't care are we using a debit card or credit card if we use our own money in a card. But for businesses, it has actually quite a difference because the costs of accepting payments within a debit card and credit card are really different. So going a bit more deeper to these answers to see how the countries overall answered and to see where the Baltic states are. So the leader was Slovakia. 45% of the businesses answered that the main payment method they want to receive payments is cash. Then followed Germany by 36%. Baltic states, actually the Latvian companies answered that they would like to be paid in cash most. 27% of the companies said that. And then followed by Lithuanian 14% of the companies and Estonia 9% of the companies. So the answer is pretty clear. There is two main payment methods how companies wants to get paid. It's cash and cards. Then the companies was asked very associated question with that. What kind of payment methods do they accept? So the total majority of the companies answered that they're accepting cash. Almost 10 out of 10, 96% of the companies indicated that they're accepting cash. The other payment method was credit cards, then contactless cards and other payments that goes down. So as well, the answer shows the same thing. There's two payment methods that are being accepted by all the businesses. It's cash number one and cards number two. Looking into the countries' answer, how the companies in separate countries answered, we don't see a lot of variation. We see that 96% of Estonian companies and Lithuanian companies answered that they are accepting cash. And 89% of the companies in Latvia answered that they are accepting cash. Then was an interesting twist in all this survey. Actually, the two main payment methods that we saw that businesses would like to be paid in and that they accept was compared. So cash was compared versus actually three payment methods. Cash versus credit cards, cash versus debit cards, and cash versus mobile payments. They were compared in 5 categories: reliability, overall cost, transaction speed, ease of handling, and security. And the result was as follows. So the cards were better in security-wise. The transaction speed, reliability, and overall cost was better for accepting payments in cash. When credit cards was compared, the result is not surprisingly, it's pretty much the same as with the debit cards. So security and actually ease of handling was in favor of cards, but reliability, transaction speed, and overall cost was better of accepting payment in cash. And the third method, the last one that was compared, was mobile payments. As we saw from an earlier answers, the mobile payments was like pretty down of how the businesses would like to get the payments. And that's a very, that answers actually shows why. When cash was compared with mobile payments, all categories, reliability, transaction speed, ease of handling, security, and overall cost was in favor of cash. So, with resuming all these answers, we see that the businesses would like to be paid in two payment methods, cards, cash, and they are accepting cards and cash, and both payment methods has their own advantages and disadvantages. So the last question that actually answers how the trend of cash will be was the companies asked, will they accept cash in the future? So total majority of the companies, 94% of the companies answered that they will be accepting cash in the future. Only 5% of the companies indicated that they will stop accepting cash in some years. Looking how the countries individually answered, the results are pretty similar. So 100% and 100% actually Estonian and Latvian companies answered that they will be accepting cash in the future. And 95% of Lithuanian companies answered as well that they will be accepting cash. So I believe the trend within businesses is very clear. Now going to another major stakeholder, the general public, how us as a general public sees how we will use cash. So actually CHS Investment Group, we ordered a public survey for the whole Baltic countries, for Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and 1,000 persons in each of the countries were asked few questions that could answer regarding trends. So basically what kind of payment method they prefer, how do they spend cash? Do they spend more cash than they were spending? And will they be spending cash more in upcoming years? So the answers actually show us that. 22% of Lithuanians, 18% of Latvians, and 12% of Estonians answer that their preferred payment method of general public is cash. Other respondents actually answer that they are paying in various ways, but more often they are paying with cards. Then the question followed about the usage of cash. Do they spend cash more, the same, or less often than a year ago? So 5 out of 10 Lithuanians and 6 out of 5 Latvians and Estonians answer that their usage of cash is actually the same. 4 out of 10 Lithuanians and Latvians answered that they're using cash less, and 3 out of 10 Estonians answered as well that they are using cash less. Around 1 out of 10 Lithuanians, Latvians, Estonians answered that they're actually using cash even more than they were using. And the last question that was asked is about the future of the cash usage. So that's actually as well shapes the future and the trend of the cash usage. So the majority part, 7 out of 10 Lithuanians, 8 out of 10 Latvians and Estonians answer that they are not planning to change their cash usage habits. So the trend will be shaped as that. So going to the Baltic states, we see the 2 main stakeholders and the trends that will follow in the future. So for the businesses, definitely cash will stay very widely accepted payment method. Especially for the businesses, it will be crucial for them that has a lot of private customers, because here we're getting to another trend. So basically the payments in cash is becoming a payment method between businesses and private persons. And for a general public, as a survey showed, the majority of the Baltic residents won't change their cash spending habits. As well, in not changing their cash spending habits, they have to have comfortable way to withdraw the cash. So that won't change as well. Taking into account all the legislations and central bank requirements and agreements with the banks, there shouldn't be any significant changes in the cash spots where general public or businesses actually can withdraw the cash. So the main actually cash spot is ATMs in the Baltic countries. Another trend in the Baltic countries that will follow is, as a survey showed, the cash was the most friendly, economically wise payment for businesses. It's the cheapest for them to accept. So that trend actually will follow. Nevertheless, taking into account that overall the cost of cash handling is increasing, the prices are changing, but still the gap between taking payment in cards and getting paid by cash is really big. So this trend will follow, and accepting payment in cash will still be more effective for businesses. And the last trend I want to mention is about overall the cash in transit process, how it's changing. So the most used cash in transit process today is that the money in businesses is being collected in cash registers and automated cash registers. Then collected money is picked up by a cash in transit company on an agreed schedule with the business. The money is being brought to the cash calculation center. It's, as I mentioned, it's recounted, and then the money is credited to the business bank account. Overall, the cycle takes around 24 hours from physical money to become digital in a bank account. The process of cash handling in the future, or actually the process that's happening right now, is that getting paid will basically stay the same. So the money will be accepted by businesses in cash registers and automated cash registers, in smart cash boxes where, cashiers doesn't need to even touch the money or give change. But the process of collecting money is actually changing, and will change in quite few companies. And the change will be that there won't be a need to agree exact time with CAT companies when they will come and pick up the money and etc. So the companies are starting to use smart safes. Smart safe is a device very similar to ATM. It's being put in the business back-end premises, And overall, the businesses are putting money in the smart safe. The money is being recalculated in real time, and cash in transit company is monitoring the safe. By knowing how much money is in the safe, cash in transit company can credit the amount of money that's in the safe to the customer's bank account. And overall, the process becomes more convenient for a customer. There's no need of overall the schedules, and it's actually a bit more quicker as well. So, coming to a last slide of conclusions of how cash in transit will be in the future. So, we know for a fact that for the last 10 years, cash in circulation is growing. We know for a fact from a recent survey of European Central Bank that there is two payment methods that companies prefer to be paid with. It's cash and cards. We know that companies is accepting two main payment methods as well, cash and cards. Companies answered that they have no plans to not take payments in cash. Only 5% of the companies indicated that. The two payment methods has their own advantages and disadvantages. So the cards' main advantages was that they're better in security-wise, and the cash advantage versus card payments was that they're better in transaction speed, in reliability. The cash can't malfunction, and in overall cost. So the trend of overall cost will stay the same. It will be cheaper to accepting payments in cash. Automatization and easiness of cash handling will grow, taking into account the new solutions that being put in the businesses and the CAT companies that offer. The trend of payment method of becoming private customers to businesses by paying in cash will continue, taking into account all the legislations and all the changes in the laws that's happening in different countries, because there's quite a bit of limitations of how much you can pay in cash and etc. Getting cash will stay relatively easy. The European Central Bank and central banks of each of our countries has a vision that the cash has to be acceptable, that everybody could get cash quite easily. So the number of ATMs shouldn't change, and that's the major cash point for all of us. And the majority of Baltic residents actually answered that they won't be changing any of their cash habits. So probably what I would like to say as for my last sentence is that it's hard to predict the future. Literally nobody can predict the future. We can predict the trend. And the trend shows that two payment methods will live very long, and that the consumers, the general public, and the businesses wants to have a choice, and they chooses the both payment methods and the one that they prefer with. So I would like to thank you very much for listening to me. Hopefully it was interesting. And if you will have any questions, you can catch me somewhere in conference or just shoot me a question in LinkedIn. I will definitely answer.
Vilius Makauskas, ladies and gentlemen, let's give applause. And we actually do have time for questions. If someone maybe have a concrete question from audience, we have microphones, we can actually do that. So no questions. I think it's a good presentation.
Everything is very clear.
Yes, thank you. I would invite on the stage also, you will have a little thank you. And please come in the middle of the stage, yes. Thank you. To make a nice photo as well. Thank you very much.